Well, this interview aged like fine wine. For most politicians, staying in the office is priority number one, even if that means abandoning the very issues that they once claimed to care about. But there's one person who's always gone against the grain, President Donald J. Trump. Today we're bringing you a throwback clip from 1988 where he lays out the same ideas and convictions that he's still standing by today. We'll also be comparing that to today's Democrat leadership and some of their so-called rising stars. Needless to say, the contrast could not be more clear. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
You took out a full-page ad in major U.S. newspapers last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share. We're a debtor nation. Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And, hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
If there's one thing you can say about Trump, it's that he's consistent. Unlike most politicians who seem to change their stances depending on the day, Trump has remained firm on the key issues since day one. That is very rare in politics, and whether you love him or hate him, you at least know where he stands. What sets Trump apart even more is that he has a strong business background, and that matters. Because in that world, results are everything. If something's broken, you fix it, which is a mindset he brought over to politics. For instance, he got Saudi Arabia to invest $600 billion just days after assuming office. Japan was another country that vowed to increase its investments to $1 trillion. More importantly, he's not part of the elite club. He doesn't owe favors to the usual players in Washington, and that's why they despise him. After seeing the kind of response he got, Oprah followed up with a more pointed question, and Trump's answer was perfect.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, you know, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
What really stood out in this exchange to me is that Trump and Oprah were clearly speaking on two completely different wavelengths. Oprah assumed that he wouldn't run for the presidency because it doesn't pay much, as if money is the only motivating factor that drives people to step up. It's a very Hollywood way of looking at things. Trump, on the other hand, wasn't really thinking in dollar signs. You see, his response came from a place of love for the country and the urgency to fix what was broken. You could tell he wasn't interested in the fame or fortune, although he already had it. And that's why it's safe to say stepping into politics wasn't about boosting his brand or making a profit. It was about applying what he learned in business to a nation that desperately needed direction. At this point, Oprah was super intrigued and was trying to get a sort of scoop on when Trump would run for office, to which he replied this.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined, I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing, this country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
That is the kind of winning mentality that pushed Trump to the top in business. He didn't get there without setbacks, in fact, he had plenty, but what set him apart was his refusal to stay down. He'd take the hit, regroup, come back even stronger, and that same mindset carried over into his political career and is exactly what the country needed after 4 years of pure chaos under Biden. Whether you like him or not, it was clear he brought a different energy to the table, one based on making promises and then following with action. So now that we've seen and analyzed 1988 Trump, time to look into the key Democrat leaders. For example, here's Obama, Clinton, and Chuck Schumer talking about illegal immigration.
It's plain and simple and unavoidable. When we use phrases like undocumented workers, We convey a message to the American people that their government is not serious about combating illegal immigration, which the American people overwhelmingly oppose.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally and those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law. We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully to become immigrants.
In just a decade, the left's stance on illegal immigration is completely flipped. There is a reason Obama was labeled deporter-in-chief. The man holds the record for the most deportations ever from a president. It's an interesting 180. Their messaging went from illegal immigration being a serious issue that needs to be addressed to embracing an open border policy and letting everyone vote even if you're not a citizen. Nowadays, you'll see Hillary Clinton posting on X stuff like, if they can ship Kilmar Abrago Garcia to a foreign prison accused of no crime with no trial, they can do it to anyone. End quote. By the way, that is completely false, provably. Let's continue. Because it's hard not to ask whether those earlier tough statements were just political posturing to win more votes, because it looks like they've abandoned that position entirely. You might say, well, those are the old guard, the fresh faces are much more consistent. No, not really. Here's an example of the left's recent rising star, Jasmine Crockett, flip-flopping as usual.
The problem that we have right now is that if we continue down this road, then we will not have a rule of law, because we have people that are currently serving and they're saying things like, ignore the judge's order. What it means to have law and order in this country is that you follow the order and you go through the appeals process, even if you dislike what the judge did. Thank you, and I yield.
And I'm going to note that when Ms. Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC as we know her, filed articles of impeachment on Justice Thomas and Alito, Ms. Crockett was one of the co-sponsors along with Mr. Cohen, both members of this committee. It does seem interesting that when the shoe is on the other foot, everyone is self-righteous. And I think this is a good example.
Wow, she's the next star of the left. Anyway, what Representative Darrell Issa is referencing is last year's failed attempt by AOC and several other far-left politicians like Jasmine Crockett and Cori Bush to impeach Justice Thomas and Justice Alito with no solid evidence other than the fact that they don't agree with the justices' rulings. That's another 180, and they are supposed to be the new faces that will take over the party for the next few years. I think it's safe to say that inconsistency and flip-flopping seem to be key requirements for becoming a Democrat politician, which is such a major turnoff and will cost them in the long run. However, I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please share it with your family and friends. It means the world to a small channel like us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.